So that's just your rights under Fair Credit Reporting. Now we're going to go credit score. I'm going to go through later on, just in a few moments, through the whole credit report. The credit report is a very valuable tool that's almost not used by credit grantors anymore. The old days, 30 years ago, we had a bunch of people that were loan officers and actual underwriters that went through your credit report, looked at every single trade line, and said, this is good, this behavior is good, this behavior is bad, there's a pocket of bad behavior here, what happened? Oh, we had a car accident, we had a divorce, we had a problem. That's why this customer's going, and they would actually score you on their experience in banking or in underwriting. Nowadays, banker's a banker, not taking away from you guys, but you fit the credit score, you don't fit the credit score. A company called Fair Isaacs has come up with a bunch of different formulas, and the formula would be from here to Miami to figure it out. It's wild. I've seen some of it before. It's crazy. It's kind of a secret kind of thing, but I can kind of give you an idea about what the basics are, what your credit score is. So now, if you apply for a credit card, and they're giving credit cards to people with a 550 to a 720, and you fall in there, doesn't matter what your trade lines look like, you can be offered the credit card. If you got a 549, you're not offered the credit card. Okay? There's no big guy that used to be the loan officer or the underwriter looking back at all your trade lines and saying, well, this guy's got a 549 because he just had a divorce. That's why. This means he doesn't want to pay his bills because of this crisis. Nobody can see the crisis any longer. It's now your credit score. In your credit score, payment history is 35%. That's how you actually pay your trade lines. The amounts owed is 30% of your credit score. The length of your credit history is 15% of your credit score. The new credit you recently applied for is 10% of your credit score. And the types of credit used is 10% of your credit score. So what weighs the heaviest? 65% of your credit score is payment history and amounts owed. That's how you can affect your credit score most effectively. Pay your bills on time and keep your balances under control. With credit scores,
You told me what was the 15% again?
35% payment history, 30% amounts owed, 15% length of credit history, and 10% for new credit and types of credit used. How the credit grantor looks at you as far as what your credit scores are. And credit scores range between 300 and 850. And they all go the same way now at all three bureaus. There was a time when two bureaus where your high score was good, you remember? And one was low. It used to be if you had a 300 at one bureau, you were good, and a 700 at the other bureau was good. But now everybody's going the same way. Credit scores are the same. They're actually apt to change in the next year because there's a new credit score coming out. But it'll be communicated out there if it is. 300 is the lowest, 850 is the highest credit score. And how the credit grantors are looking at you and what they're saying is, if your credit score is 0 or 300 to 499, there's an 83% chance that you're going to default on a loan, file for bankruptcy, and fall 90 days past due at least one of your creditors, at least one of your credit cards in the next 2 years. That's how the credit grantors feel. So if you have a credit score below 500, you're going to default, you're going to file for bankruptcy, you're going to be 90 days past due at least one creditor. If your credit score is 500 to 549, they think 70% chance of you doing that have negative behavior. If your credit score is 550 to 599, it's a 51% chance that you're going to have one of those negative non-payment activities. If you're 600 to 649, they think you're 31% likely to do that. If you're 650 to 699, they think you're 14% likely to have a default or late payment activity. 700 to 749, 5%, 750 to 799, a 2% likeliness, and the people with the 800 credit score have a 1% likeliness of having defaulting on a loan, filing for bankruptcy, or falling 90 days past due on at least one trade line. Everybody understands that? So that's how they're weighting. That's how they're weighting it. They're saying these group of people behave in this way, so it's likely that they're going to behave this way. They're all going to pay, or likely they're going to, each group you're going to pay this way. Questions? That's credit score in a nutshell, really. I want to go just a couple of things on how you can affect it positively and negatively. We kind of went through it already. Late payments, paying on time, and you demonstrate a relatively long credit history. People, the average, these stats I have, I think, are like a year and a half old. The average account on most people's credit reports is staying 16 months. Okay, that's the average, 16 months. That's what they're saying. They took everybody's trade lines and set together 16 months. So if you're greater than 16 months, you're good. If you're less than 16 months, you're affecting your credit score in some way as far as longevity. That's all I'm just saying. So paying on time, keeping your balances down is the most positives. Negative is balances or credit limits too high. Your actual balance is too close to your credit limit or over your credit limit. Those are negative factors. Or having too many charge accounts open. They also will say if you happen to have 10 credit cards, and even if your balances aren't really high, but you have, the credit grant or the bureaus are kind of housing you in income bracket now too. They're starting to house some income and kind of pigeonholing us into knowing income. They only used to know trade lines and stuff. They're starting to know our jobs and our income a little bit more. So they're able to make more of a demographic look at us. And now let's say, I make $40,000 a year and I have the ability with my 10 credit cards to charge $85,000 worth of credit. That's going to affect my credit score. Because if I actually fill all those credit cards up and I have $85,000 in credit, I only make $40,000 a year, they think I'm now going to be a default opportunity. So even having large balances, large credit cards out there can affect you negatively also. Everybody understand that? Anybody, any questions on credit score? Yes, sir.
I heard this, I'm looking at the rumor, that if a person keep pulling your credit, that sort of start breaking the number down too.
Inquiries.
Yes, inquiries.
Inquiries can affect your credit score. Because of the way credit bureaus report, all the credit managers report once per month. Okay, so if they were all report on the 15th, and you applied for a credit card on the 16th, you're not going to get reported until the next month. All right, so you've already had that credit card for 31 days. If you applied for 5 credit cards and it was the same deal, and they can't tell if it's inside that window if you got all those 5 credit cards. So if they give you another credit card, they could be the 6th credit card. And if you went out and charged all those other cards up, they figure we're not going to get paid. You just overextended yourself. So because of that's really all to do with reporting. If we ever get to update reporting, where someone gets a credit card and it gets reported and listed on your credit report in a very short period of time, and the technology should be there to do that, you're not going to have those issues anymore. But the credit grantor says that's a blind. They see you making inquiries. You could actually got credit accounts, and if you did get credit accounts, they don't want to be the 5th guy in line trying to get paid. That's what that's all about. So it isn't good to go out and get a lot of credit points. If you're going to buy a car and you have iffy credit, pick out the car, know exactly what you want, and then let them pull your credit report. Don't go to 5 car dealers, drive 5 cars, and let everyone pull your credit report. Because you didn't like all 5 of those cars. You want 1 car, right? Only let them pull the credit report when you finally find the car that you want. Because those 5 credit report pulls will definitely be an issue. So shop first, let them pull your credit report once. Any other questions?